I'm nothing but an ugly. Hi, it's Marilyn Price. Oh, and a few of my friends to help me tell the story. You recognize them? You may think that I'm going to sing you Rubber Ducky, you're the one. But no, you can sing it. Great song. You can even take a bath. You can do whatever you want because this is a story exactly about that. It's about however you interpret it. So I have here, I believe, my entire collection of rubber duckies saved from when my kids used to take baths and my grandkids. And now, of course, every once in a while, me. So I love them all. Each and every one has a personality to help me tell our story. Uh, and then, of course, is my ever present house cleaning things. For example, maybe today is going to be a dusty day, so I'm going to take my feather duster and maybe dust. But Marilyn Price, me, the puppeteer storyteller, we out there, we'd rather tell stories than dust. So I make things into puppets, and you can do that too. So if you happen to have a feather duster sitting around not doing anything, you could just hold it, look at it, and imagine what it could be. Could it be? Uh, could it be a bird? They have feathers. Exactly. So how do you give it a face? You could just draw one on, as long as somebody doesn't mind. Or you could take a tube and put it right through the and give it a face. And then you would have what could be a duckling. And then, just in case someone in your house wants you to be helpful, you just did. I did it. I turned it right side. Now you can have a duck and dust at the same time. Dust like that. Awesome. So, this is a story that was written in 1843, published in 1843. I correct myself. So, that was a very long time ago, but it was published, and it's important for this particular author. This was the first book that was ever published for him. His name was Hans Christian Andersen, and it was published with three others, some of which you may actually already know as well. He went on to publish a whole lot of stories, being that he was to become probably the most famous storyteller ever. All of those stories I love to tell. And I've told some to you on this particular wonderful site called the Mentor Project. So I'm going to thank them in the beginning. I'm going to thank them in the end. We do bookends, right? So let me tell you a little bit about this story, which is about so many things, but not to say what you might think it's about. It's about ducks. It's about how we treat each other. It's about how we feel about ourselves. So here we have on your screen and mine the prompts to tell our story. We are missing a couple of characters. So allow me to introduce Mama Duck, who is going to soon be giving birth to all of these ducks. Where do they come from? They come from eggs, right? She's a very patient person. As our, oh, I'm just going to give it all away. All moms, most of the time, unless something's happening in their house. So I'd like you to meet Mama Duck. Mama Duck has been sitting on these eggs for a very long time. And they all hatched. Each and every one of them. Duck 1, Duck 2, Duck 3, Duck 4, Duck 5, Duck 6, Duck 7. But there's one egg that is giving her a terrible time. It is bigger than all the other eggs, and it looks quite different. But as Mama Duck reminds us in the story, I've been sitting on it, and it is my egg as well, and I'll wait. Now, all the other ducklings, they wanted to go and play. They weren't as patient as Mama Duck, but who could be? So Mama Duck told them to go out and play. And maybe we should add this in to our story. So if you will join me in a little musical overture for our story, let us sing Seven Little Ducks Went Out to Play over the river and far away. Your part. When Mama Duck said, quack, 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 all the little ducks will come running back. So let's, as an opening for our wonderful story, Hans Christian Andersen, a little bit of musical trivia. 7 little ducks went out to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck said, quack, 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 one little duck did not come back. Hmm. 6 little ducks went out to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck said, quack, 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 one little duck went and never came back. Oh dear, Mama Duck, how many do we have now? We have 5. Oh, 5 little ducks swam out to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck said, quack, quack, quack. Oh my goodness, they're dropping like ducks. 4 little ducks swam out to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck said, quack, quack, quack. Oh no, 3 little ducks came swimming back. Oh no, 2 little ducks swam out to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck said, quack, quack, quack. Uh-oh, uh-oh, I only have 2. Oh, let's go for it. The 2 little ducks swam out to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck sang, quack, quack, quack. I only have 1 left. This one looks like it's going off to play duck football. So I'm going to give it a kiss. Are you ready to go? I'm ready, Mama. I'll miss you. But I won't have an empty nest because I still have 1 more egg. Oh, last little duck went off to play over the river and far away. When Mama Duck said, quack, 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 no little ducks came swimming, flying, leaping back to kiss their mother. Mama Duck, you did a great job. I hope everybody loved that. So I personally thought it was Ducky. Sorry about that. It's early in the morning. Where I am. So here we are in a wonderful story written in published in 1843. I'm not exactly sure when Hans Christian Andersen put it all together, but he had such an all-together mind that he wrote stories, and he would sit and tell the kids. He would gather them around him, and he would tell them stories. And I am pretty sure this was one of his favorites. So you might say to me, Marilyn, why do you think it was one of his favorites? Well, I'll tell you what. I think it was one of his favorites because it was really about him. Not only was it about him, but it was about the way his life was. So I'm going to tell you this beautiful story and then a little tiny bit of a recommendation for a movie in case you have movie night. Movie night. Now, most of you weren't around in 1952 when this movie came out, of the life story of Hans Christian Andersen. It is a wonderful story, so G-rated that it's almost G-golly rated. It's a great movie. Go look at it. And here's the music from it. Most of the music was written by Frank Lesser, who wrote other wonderful pieces. But the story song, which tells the whole story about this particular piece, was written by Danny Kaye. So much conversation, but if you don't know Danny Kaye, another good homework piece for you. Get to know Danny Kaye. He was a comic, he was a dancer, he was a singer, and apparently he also wrote music. He wrote this one. I'll sing you a little bit, a piece of it. Maybe I'll sing you a little bit more, but if you know it, I want to hear it all the way to my place. And the story, if we sung it, would go like this. There once was an ugly duckling with feathers all stubby and brown, and the other bird said in so many words, get out of town, get out, get out, get out of town. And he went with a quack and a waddle and a quack in a flurry of eider down. That poor little ugly duckling went wandering far and near, but at every place they said to his face, "Now get out of here." So he went with a quack and a waddle and a quack and a very unhappy tear. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there was a mama duck who had been sitting on her nest for a very, very long time, or so it seemed. All the other little ducks had hatched from their eggs and were swimming around and waiting for mama to get off of that egg so they could all swim and play and perchance fly. But mama, our mama, was very, very, very patient. She will admit to being bored, but she was patient. So no matter what anyone would say, Mama Duck would stay on that egg. Sometimes people would come and tell her stories. And then they'd say, "Come on, Mama. Maybe it isn't your egg after all." And she would assure them, "It's my egg and I'm going to sit on it." And sit she did. Finally, one day, while all the other ducks were a-playing, the duck egg began to shake and it broke open. And Mama looked down and she said, "Oh, that doesn't look like any of my other ducks. Maybe it's not a duck at all. It sure is different." And it was. It wasn't round and yellow and fluffy. It was scrawny and stubby and a little bit brown in some places. It barely looked like it had hatched at all. Poor little duckling. Well, the mama tried as best she could. He was a really good swimmer, so he could swim like all the other ducks, but the other ducks, they made fun of him. They poked at him, they picked at him, and they called him names. Mama tried to sell him away. "Go away, go away, don't make fun. This is your brother." But it didn't work. And he did what anybody would do, I think. He tried his very best, but he could not keep up, and everybody made fun. They called him the Ugly Duckling. All through the winter time he hid himself away, ashamed to show his face, afraid of what others might say. All through the winter, in his lonely clump of wheat, he slept and slept, and then a flock of swans spied him, and very soon agreed, "You're a very fine swan indeed," he said. "I'll go on." And they said, "Yes, you're a swan. Take a look at yourself in the lake." And he looked and he saw and he said, "I'm a swan. Oh, I'm not such an ugly duckling. No feathers, all stubby and brown. For in fact these birds in so many words said I'm the best, the best, the best in town. Not a quack, not a waddle, or a quack, or a quack, but a glide and a whistle and a snowy white back and a head so noble and high. So who's an ugly duckling? Not I, not I. The story that Hans Christian Andersen wrote, which really described how he felt about himself. He was a kid who was picked at and poked at and made fun of. Inside of him were so many stories. No ugly duckling, but something beautiful. And though he may never turn into something what others might say was beautiful, what he gave to us was magic. So, I say this to you, my friends. 18 1843. Published in his very first book, Hans Christian Andersen told the story that is still alive today. There once was an ugly duckling, won't you join me, with feathers all stubby and brown, and all the other birds said in so many words, get out of town, get out of town. Before we get out of town, I would like to thank you all for tuning in. Particularly like to thank my friends at the Mentor Project and the people that helped put this together, like Adam Weinberger and Jibby Jacobs and Tina Parker and all the mentors. If you like this kind of programming, please subscribe to the podcast. Check us out on Facebook and always remember to live. Would you like to tell them? Always remember to live happily ever after. And that, my friends, is the end. There once was an ugly duckling with feathers all and brown, and every time she said to her friends, get out of town.